Welcome to How Women Inspire. Today we're going to have the famous Lynda Grindstaff, who was just on a huge billboard in Sacramento, California, and that said "Made at Sac State." So we're gonna end up talking about that, I'm sure. Why is Sac State celebrating and promoting her? This woman is a ceiling breaker. She is a powerhouse in tech and cybersecurity. 30 years of experience in the very most senior roles in corporate America, have included executive roles at McAfee and Intel, the biggest companies we all know. And Lynda has not only shaped the tech landscape, she's also got 4 patents. I mean, this woman is extraordinary and finds time to both be an unbelievable mom and partner, but she's also deeply committed to driving change and is on multiple boards, including the OFG Bancorp and women's empowerment. And she's focusing on making sure that she can lift up other women. So, How Women Lead, our precious organization. She is one of our board members. She's also at the College of Engineering at California State University, Sacramento on the board. And in 2024, she was named Cybersecurity Woman of the Year, which is a testament to her incredible influence in the industry. Everybody knows cybersecurity is the hottest issue in the boardroom. So I can't wait to dive into your journey and how did you even get going in this? Like, this is like, who knew as a little girl you should be planning to work on cybersecurity? But first, before we even do that, you and I have a chance to travel and have some fun together. So, do you have a theme song or a song that you like break out on the fun days or the hard days?
Well, I have many songs that my secret passion is 80s rock music, but one of the theme songs I would say is by Bon Jovi, and it's called "It's My Life," and it's about living your life the way you want to live it, and doing it your way, and doing things your way, and I would say that would be the theme
Was
song.
it okay? As a mom myself, I think like, were you that little girl who was like, it's, hard to raise, but unbelievable leader as an adult? Or were you, were you
I was a leader and I was well, my mom may say I was hard to raise. I don't think I was hard to raise, but I would say, yeah, I definitely was a leader growing up, and I was a leader in high school, and I was in student government, and I was on the yearbook staff, and I always asked lots of questions, was always inquisitive and things. So yes,
beautiful? So a growth mindset always,
absolutely.
and I know you, so I know you were always looking out for other people as part of that. And so that's the best kind of leader, right? Asking great questions, inquisitive, and bringing other people along. So
Right.
you made a significant pivot in 2023. Can you talk a little bit about going from working in a corporation for a day job and what inspired you to now go into board service and really have this portfolio life?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was one of my friends, Melanie, who you've met. And Melanie, back in 2019, she took the How Women Lead board readiness class, and she came out of that, and I ran into her at a Society of Women Engineers conference, actually, the national conference. And she was like, "You need to take this class." And I was like, "Me? I can't do board stuff." And I was already at the executive level. I was a vice president, and she's like, "Absolutely. What are you talking about?" And I didn't realize that there was other options available. I thought you just kept working, you move up the corporate ladder, you move up the executive path, and then you might change companies and then you retire, I guess. I didn't know that there was other things available in that realm of things that I could do. And so like you said, I like helping others and I like coaching and inspiring. And so it was really interesting for me to start to go down that path. So I took the board readiness training myself and was like, I think I could do this maybe. And then COVID hit and everything kind of went on hold for a few years, but that was definitely the starting point, was that inspiration and for me understanding that there are other options available for my career trajectory, for things that I could do to inspire myself as well as to give back to others and do things in a different way too. So kind of like that song, right? It's my life and I'm going to do it my way.
Lynda, I love how you just described this, and I hope everybody just sort of listened very carefully. I want to underscore a couple of things you said. Somebody else said, "I see this in you."
Yep.
And I think for all of us, and I know you do this for me, for all of us, helping other people, like holding up a mirror that says, "Oh, no, no, this is how we see you." So much more than maybe with our own that filter of all the things that go on in
Correct.
our head, or the box where it's like, well, I'm an engineer and I'm good at being an engineer. And it's like, no, there's even more beyond that, right? So I love that giving back, and also you being ready to hear it and actually leaning in and believing in yourself to move into this transition. I know
Right.
people who serve on boards with you and they love the contribution that you have. So I can imagine being in tech and cybersecurity, you've been the only woman in the room for a couple of parts of your life. Do you have any advice for people who are navigating that right now?
Yeah, I would say first get a support network, whatever it looks like. For me, it was Society of Women Engineers back many decades ago when I was just starting out, and yeah, being the only woman, and oftentimes we're the only woman in our classes in college, and so when we graduate, it's not uncommon to be the only woman in the room at a meeting, but you often feel that you're all alone and that your voice is not heard and that they don't understand the challenges that you're going through, especially as you start to have children and you start to have aging parents and things like that. A lot of those burdens do fall onto us as the women, but we can still have both. And the men don't always understand that. And so that support network of others who have been there and done that, who are walking in the same shoes that you're walking in, or even just they might be halfway around the world, literally. I had a woman that worked for me who was in India. She was experiencing the same challenges I was. Even though we were in totally different countries, totally different backgrounds, we were both moms that were working engineering fields, and we could relate so much to each other. And just having those conversations and things like we've had through How Women Lead, or any of the network of women, just to understand that you're not alone. That's been huge to have that. And so whatever that looks like for you or anyone that's listening, just having that support structure is so important.
Find your people who will elevate you and reflect back the best of you. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And listen to you and cry with you and cheer for you and all of the above. Exactly.
So Lynda, you're arguably one of the most important women in the country with unbelievable positions of influence and impact. And I know you and I we went on a trip, and I recently with other women corporate directors or potential corporate directors, unbelievable group of women. And I looked at the survey from everybody, and almost everybody, and people said this in person, said they had some kind of what we call sort of, some people call imposter syndrome, the sense of like, am I enough to be in this group? Has that ever occurred to you? I mean, you've been pushing the envelope in environments that where you were the only for a long time, and you were the ceiling breaker in so many situations. How do you actually make sure? I know you've got networks and community, you just said, but how else do you shore yourself up for overcoming? Maybe it's never been a problem for you.
Oh, no, it's been a total problem, and you can ask my husband because, probably the first 5 years of my reviews, my annual reviews, I'd say, "Oh, I'm gonna get fired this time," or, "I'm gonna get below expectations," or, "This is the year." And at first, my husband was like, "Oh, why? I'm so sorry. Why do you
Yeah.
think that?" And then after about year 3, he's like, "Really? Have you gotten
Yeah.
it yet?"
Yeah.
And he's not, "And what happened before?" "Oh, you got exceeds expectations, not below." And so after about maybe, I don't know, the 6th or 7th year I'm like, "Oh, I'm just not enough. I'm not gonna get it," and yes, I did get very good reviews, but in my head, I was still never enough because I was around these amazing
Yeah.
engineers and amazing people that I just never felt that I was part of them and that I was always below them. And so how I overcame that was actually I won an award from Society Women Engineers. It was a national award, and a friend encouraged me to apply. I need friends I need my people to keep telling me to do things, I think. And she was like, "Well, how come your name's not on this list?" And I was like, "I'm not gonna win. What are you talking about?" I literally just scribbled out the little application. I did it like in half a day, and it's supposed to be like 3,500 words. I just gave them any old photo. I'm like, "I'm not winning. I'm not putting a lot of time." Fast forward, I get a call, and this is like early 2000s. I get a call, "Congratulations, you won." And my first thought was, "Can I change that photo?" And I was like, because I
If
just
I
thought,
thought I
"No,
was
no
gonna
way."
win, I would have done my hair and gotten a new
Right?
headshot. Right,
Yes, I
right.
didn't.
Yeah,
I was just like, "Here, take whatever I
yeah.
got." Yeah, so, like, for me, that was really the turning point of going, "Well, maybe I do belong, and maybe they did hire me for a reason, and all the other jobs I've had, it's been for a reason. It's not like, I skated by some way." But I could think that was really, for me, the big turning point in the validation that being recognized for a national award, and then since then, I've been recognized with 3 Society of Women Engineers national awards.
I'm not asking for permission anymore. I'm not asking for a seat at the table. My friends, this is the first generation of us. We have a huge opportunity. We have power and influence and wealth. And we can start building the tables where we get the prime seats. Today, we want to invite you to join us as investors in venture. I know no one's asked you to do it before. It might be something that seems scary or foreign, but I promise you it's not that different than investing in a mutual fund where your retirement funds are. I want you to lean in and just learn a little bit more. How about making a commitment that in the next 12 months, you can give yourself 12 months to figure it out and to take a step. I want to invite you to be part of the new table of power and influence and wealth. You're invited. I want to sit at the table with you because we're going to make big change. We're going to make the world we've been dreaming of. Thank goodness for networks like that do make those acknowledgments. That's really meaningful. And I know the women at Society of Women Engineers, and bravo team. Well done. Look at who you fueled, and the fact that they've really helped you sort of with that validation that's helped reset is extraordinary. So you've served on quite a few boards, nonprofit and for-profit. Are you using your engineering degree in those boardrooms all the time? Or how does it bring a different perspective perhaps?
Well, so I wouldn't say I'm using it directly. It's not like we're building something, right? When you're in the boardroom, you're not the operator role anymore, right? It's noses in, fingers out, as people say. But I would say engineers bring a different mindset. There's a lot of board members, as you know, that have financial backgrounds and they think differently than most engineers. And the diversity of thought is always important as well. And engineers have, I don't know, it's just the way our brains work, I guess, have an amazing ability to take data from many different sources and put it together and analyze the data, because most of the time we're analytical thinkers, strategic thinkers, and an ability to solve problems and look at them in a different light. And so, yes, I have been using my skills in the boardroom, not only from a technical standpoint and working with their technical teams, but also working with just the other board members to look at things from a different light or a different angle.
Do you feel like you have to, I mean, when you talk about your value proposition with prospective boards that you might join, do they all get that the engineer mindset is unique, or do you have to explain that?
I would say that you have to explain it
Yeah.
most of the time,
Yeah.
unless they are related to an engineer or were an engineer in a former life, or have seen it in action, they get it. But most of the time, yes, if they haven't, they're like, well, you people are weird sometimes.
I
But
come from
yeah,
a family of engineers. Some of them are weird, but it's a really powerful framework for how to think about problem solving and looking at systems.
correct. Yeah, and it's interesting just to see how the brain works differently,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
how they approach
Yeah.
problems, or myself
Yeah.
included in that. And that's where that diversity of thought is really important, because everyone's going to approach the problem from a different angle.
So in addition to your portfolio life on boards, you've actually become an active investor.
Yes.
Why is that so important to you and for women in general?
Yeah, so for me, I didn't know growing up, like many people, that this was even a possibility.
Yeah.
And I just thought, you have the stock market and maybe some mutual funds, and that's about it. And it was always boring to me, to be honest, which is kind of funny that I'm involved with the bank now and doing all this investing. But now I find it fascinating because I see that there's another angle and another avenue where I can not only help, which is important to me, and help women own businesses, but I can also make a return on my investment. But the engineer in me gets to see the inner workings of the company.
Yeah.
And I always tell people that with the funds, I'm in How Women Invest Fund 1 and Fund 2. It's like real life Shark Tank.
Yeah.
I always thought that was just the TV show. No, like, you ask the questions about the numbers and you ask how the company's doing. And that's helped me also be a better board member. But I also find it interesting, like, well, how do they solve this problem? And how do they solve that problem? And why does somebody invest in company A and not company B? And just, again, all the different challenges and the world dynamics and everything, as you well know, that goes into it. But for me, it's just, it's that interesting part of the problem solving, and, oh, hey, I can make some money on the side. This is
Do you think it's
interesting.
made you a better board member? Do you think that's added to the cachet or
Absolutely.
okay.
Absolutely. It's helped me that, and
Yeah.
it's helped me in coaching others to give advice on pitches because I've seen, good pitches and bad pitches, and this is what's worked and
We've
this is
seen
what
it all,
hasn't
haven't we,
worked.
honey? Yeah.
Yeah.
If somebody is feeling like it's too complex, so they have to know more than they currently know, what would you say to them?
I would say, well, first start small, dip your toe in. You don't have to necessarily jump all in at once unless you're that type of person. But for me, it was just start small and dip my toe in. And then after getting involved, I've gotten involved in other funds. I've done some angel investments and things like that over the last, I guess, 5 years
Yeah.
now. But yeah, it's been good.
So a couple years ago, you pivoted from a corporate job to being on boards and investing and getting on billboards and winning awards, like everything. I went through my own version of that in my mid 40s, and I call it my pivot. And we actually are just birthing a course in 2025 at How Women Lead called Power Your Next Chapter, all about people who are in that pivot. Do you have any advice for somebody who's in that moment?
Yeah, I would say, well, take the class because I wish I would have had something like that. I struggled mentally, I will say, for a couple years of like, this is the right thing to do. What should I do? I'm not sure because it's a big leap to walk away from a steady income and
And regular reinforcement of your value and, all that stuff.
absolutely, absolutely, and so it was a big step, but also I wanted, the engineer in me, I had to make sure I was prepared, and so, making sure that bills were paid and loans paid off and all of those kinds of things, making sure that was all in place, and then, having the conversation with my husband that this is something that I wanted to do, and so I would say if you're considering it, talk to others, talk to your family, make sure that you have things in order, don't just walk away. We should run to something, not from something,
Yeah.
which is what I was definitely
So
doing.
that's so important. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have any problems at work. I didn't have any problems with my team. I loved my team. In fact, my team is the one that nominated me for the Cybersecurity Women Leader of the Year
Mhm.
award last year, and I had already left, and they nominated me. And so, yeah, just making sure everything is in order and talking to others and then go try it. The worst thing is if it doesn't work, you can always go back.
What an unbelievable example and career trajectory you've had. I know you're going to inspire so many women. I want to make sure every woman, anyone who's listening to this who knows a woman engineer, you should send this on to them because I just think for so many of us, we need that tap on the shoulder and the example. And you've given that to us today.
And
Thank you so much.
sometimes it's grab them by the hand and
Yeah.
take them with you too.
Yeah, exactly. Lynda, how can people find you if they want to hire you to talk about cybersecurity or,
Sure. But
talk
yeah,
about board opportunity?
LinkedIn is the best
Okay.
way. So just
All
Lynda
right.
Grindstaff is the
All
best
right.
way on LinkedIn.
Well, thank you very much for spending this time with us today. You're magnificent and what a gift for all of us. I hope everybody here has somebody who will tap you on the shoulder or that you'll do it for someone else.
Thanks, Julie. Thanks for having me. It's been fun.